guys, we're going to go ahead and get started on this picture frame. Here's the picture that I want to go ahead and frame. This is me and my wife's Adventure Awaits picture. This is actually a really cool product. It's a scratch board of the United States. Whenever you get to go anywhere, you get to go ahead and scratch off that state until you've been everywhere in the US. They also have them of the entire world and other countries as well. So if you're looking for a Valentine's, Mother's Day, Christmas present, this one's pretty cool. DC's gotcha. And by the end of the video, you know how to put a cool frame around it, so it'll look even better. So let's show you how to do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is make my backer. I got 1/8 inch plywood right here. That's thick enough for just the backboard of my frame. I'm going to go ahead and trace it out. And then this will be the backing of the picture frame that actually holds the picture into the frame. So we just got to cut this out, and then we'll get started on the frame. So we're going to start on the frame, and I'm going to end up using this piece of pine trim board. But if you want to get creative and use your own kind of wood, go right ahead. Whether you use a cool hardwood, piece of pallet wood, weathered boards, or even just some construction lumber. Either type of wood will work and it'll turn out great. But since we're using this trim board, here's what my plan is. So for this trim board, I'm going to cut it 1/4 of an inch down and 1/4 of an inch in. I'm doing 1/4 inch down so that way my picture will have something to hold on down here and all around the frame. And 1/4 inch in because that's how thick our plywood backer is. And to cut this notch in, I'm going to be using my sweet new router table. But if you don't have an awesome router table, remember that you can use a table saw. Just set your blade for 1/4 inch high, do your cut, and then flip the board over, and then cut it a second time to get that notch out. But if you do have an awesome router table, all you gotta do is take your bit and put it 1/4 inch high, and then 1/4 inch sticking out. That way we'll get our 1/4 inch notch cut out of this trim board. So now that we got our notch cut in here, we're going to go ahead and make our 45-degree cuts. Start off by just cutting off the edge on one side. My picture is 18 by 12 inches. So when we make our cuts, remember we gotta measure on this side. Do your measurement out here, you're gonna end up being way too short. You wanna make sure you do it on the inside where the notch is, because that is where your picture is going. Got our cuts made, we're going to go ahead and glue this together. God, every time! Oh, I can never get this open. Oh, man. This is going to be a bit tricky because I don't have a jig for this. I really need one. I'm going to see if I can do this with clamps. There, not great, but hey, that should work. So I'm going to let this dry, go grab a beer, and I'll catch you in a little bit. Alright, so it's the next day. I'm going to take all these clamps off and then see what we got. Hey, it's not falling apart. That's awesome. Cool little picture frame. And as you can see, it's all notched on the inside. This is what's going to hold on our picture. Go ahead and see if it works. And then hopefully, with how curvy this is, once we put it in here, it will straighten it all out. Come on. Wow, look at that. So just keeping it like this is fine too. I'm actually going to go ahead and put a stain on this. I don't want that boring color. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and sand all this, get rid of all the glue that maybe seeped up through here, and put a thing of stain on it. First sanded it with a 100 grit, then I went to do 220 so that it's got a nice finish on it. I'm going to keep this with a very modern contemporary look like this, just flush straight edges. But if you have a router table, you don't have to do it like this. This is the normal edge of my picture frame. You can definitely change it if you have a router to do a cool side bit like this. Even just beveling the edges so it's not a completely 90-degree angle. There's a lot of different options that you can do with this. Before I stain, I always like to brush this off with a cloth. You don't want to get all this sawdust underneath your stain. So you want to make sure the wood is all clean before you put a stain on. Okay, so since I'm just keeping my picture frame square, I don't know, you can call me boring, but it looks nice. But I'm going to throw the stain on. I'm using a special walnut. Got my surgical staining gloves on. And I know you're not going to see the back, but I'm just going to stain it anyways. So why not? Let this dry. Alright guys, so as you can see, our frame is all dry and it's good to go, and I really like it. But just remember, for this back piece, well, first of all, let's see if it fits. Awesome, perfect fit. This is going to do a great job of holding that piece of paper up in front right here. But it is plywood, so it is a little warped. So what I did is I went ahead and bought some of these tabs on Amazon. These are just tabs for the back of them to hold this down and make sure that it doesn't come loose. So I'm just going to set it where I want it. And you want it tight so that it holds the backing on, but not too tight to where you can't turn it. And there we go. I'm just going to put 2 tabs on, that's all I need. And here we go. So let's move these tabs over. See if it works. Probably wouldn't be a very good video if it didn't work. Wow, fits perfectly. Tabs back around. Pretty cool frame. And I know what you guys are thinking. Hey, why don't you put a piece of glass in front of that? Well, There's a reason. It's a scratch board, so I don't want to put any in front. But if you're making your own and you do want a piece of glass in front of it to protect that picture, just remember when you're doing the depth cut on the inside of the frame to take into account for that. So you're going to want to measure your backboard and the piece of glass before you make your cut. I scratched off Arizona because me and my wife actually just got back. I actually posted a video about it. It was a super fun trip, especially for the middle of winter here. So make sure you check that one out. But here's my picture frame. I think it turned out great. Just remember, Aventura awaits. They're not sponsoring me or anything, but really cool gift idea. And now you know how to make a cool frame with it as well. So I'm going to go find a place to hang this up, and I really hope that you guys have a good day, and I'll see you on the next project.